Alright, hey, what's up guys? Luke here, back for another episode of What's Wrong with the SRT4 today. So as you saw from the previous videos, there's a little bit of maybe electrical issues. Some things weren't exactly what he said it was going to be. I guess that's kind of true with everything. I'm going to give you a little insight on what I'm doing now and kind of a little update on the car and just what I'm doing with it, so check it out. Okay, so I actually, I know if you watched a couple of the other videos, my AC wasn't working, but I actually ended up getting it to work. I've got the connectors out right here, and I'll show you that there was a pin here for the AC clutch that was not getting a signal from here to the actual fuse, the relay in the fuse box. So traced the wire and basically just made an overlay, ran a new wire and tapped into where the wire is in the relay box. Now this was working fine, and I was going to solder it and run it all through the wires and everything, but I just wanted to make sure it was working while I had it out. Everything was working great for a while, and just yesterday it stopped working again. The messed up part is I jiggled the connection. This was just taped. Right now it's only butt connected, but it was just taped before I could get it soldered. And I wiggled the connector and I jiggled these wires here. As you can see, they're just kind of there. There's nothing really holding them in. There's nothing hacked in here. It's just kind of in there, and the connector's not good. Let's see if I can show you here. See these pins? You can just pull them out. See? That's not good. So basically, who knows how good these connections are. At least the one I did for the AC is good. But I just decided to go ahead and buy another connector and just repin everything, just to make sure everything's nice and tight when you plug it into the PCM. So after I wiggled some wires, the AC started working again, and when I got to my destination, hopped out of the car, hopped back in, it did not work. So it's kind of frustrating to have electrical issues. So I'm just going to repin this today and the orange connector, because it also has a couple pins that are just kind of loose. So, and just to kind of future proof it, the only one that's actually still intact is the black connector. So all the pins look good in there, so I'm not really going to mess with that one for right now until I have to. So anyway, that's what I'll be doing today, and we'll see if it fixes it. Get on my gloves here. I'm going to be doing surgery. Alright, for those of you who don't know or want to work on this at some time in the future, these connectors actually have a little tab in here that's supposed to hold all the pins in, and that's this red switch right here. You're supposed to move that over, and then that's when you can release the pin. And I see how that's loose now. And then when you flick this back over, on the other side, it's supposed to keep them locked in. That's true for those pins, but not for that one down there. And who knows how many else, or how many others are like that. So you can tell because the gold connectors are pretty close when you can see them, but those you can't even see. There's two wires there. Well, they're supposed to be there, but you can't even really see them. So that's why I'm doing this. So let's get started. Fun. Alright, well that wasn't too terrible. There was a couple in there that gave me a little bit of a hard time. Basically they were still stuck in there by the clip, but I just boogered up the holes and pushed them out from the other end so I wouldn't break the wire on the way out. Alright, so here's the old connector. Anyway, chunk that. And then the brand new connector. Now if this thing will focus, which GoPros are known to focus. Anyway, all the pins are lining up and are at the very end. I should have used my other camera, but anyway, you can see all the wires are in there now. and they should be tight. Nothing's pulling out. So even though I don't have this locked yet, you can see that now the wires don't pull out. So lock it, loaded, ready to go. So I'm probably gonna ease up, try to ease up the tension on this. Maybe put give it a little bit of slack. Put a tie wrap around it real tight. That way it keeps them together. Wrap the rest with some of this plastic shielding and electrical tape, just basically like they do from the factory, and move on to connector orange. Well, the rabbit hole gets deeper. So as I was taking this orange one off, I noticed there was a little bit more electrical tape on this thing, and it was different. So I pull it off, and we've got butt connectors and a couple other wires that are just electrical taped. And you can see that that one's actually, well, you probably can't because it's a GoPro. That one's actually showing through. So I have a little bit more work to do and actually find out what these wires are, because my buddy hasn't sent me the pinout for it yet. So definitely going to be redoing some of those. So hopefully this will fix some issues that I'm having. I can only hope. Alright guys, so I got my pinout sheet here and just looked through all the wires, and it looks like what was tapped into was coil control number 1, injector control number 1, throttle position sensor, and the knock sensor return and signal. So I don't know if you knew about this or not, guys, but this car used to have a twin turbo kit on it. So I'm sure that it had some sort of fuel management system, maybe outside of Diablo Sport. I'm sure that's probably why it was hacked into. It's not the end of the world. I've got new leads, and I'm going to solder everything back together to basically make it just only one connection, because there's some on there that are just covered in electrical tape. One's butt connected, so who knows how good those are in there. And I've got heat shrink wrap and everything, so I'll show you what I got here. These are actually new leads, the pins, and the heat shrink. And that's actually Mopar stuff. I just went and got it from my buddy at the dealership. So hopefully that will just, if anything, if it doesn't fix anything, at least I know that it's good. And if something happens down the way, I know that that's probably the last place I'll look. So I'm just going to redo these wires. I think there's about 5 of them, and then redo the pin connections, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to get to work. Alright guys, so went ahead and got the connectors from my buddy at the dealership, as I showed you earlier, and got the soldering iron. I lent mine to somebody and he swears he gave it back to me, but I don't have it anywhere. So I had to borrow the soldering iron, and I don't have my holder, so I had to improvise. Don't judge. It's doing its job, alright? Let's get to it. Alright, well, I'm no expert, but I think I did half decent for not soldering in years. Alright guys, so I've been out here for quite a few hours now, and just finished up soldering and heat shrink wrapping everything, so it's all nice, and replacing all the connectors, all the wires in 2 connectors. It's all back together, so we'll see if it starts on the first try. Oh. All right, here we go. You guys ready? That's a good sign. Now, just for giggles, I'm going to try the AC. Just maybe a wire. got fixed or something. Can hope, maybe. I'm not super hopeful, but it doesn't hurt. Yeah, see, I don't even hear the compressor kicking on. Such is life. I don't know if at this point I had a leak and maybe all the Freon leaked out. I don't know. Maybe that's the next thing I can check now that I've redone all the wires. But it runs, so that's a good thing. Okay, so I just bought a new, there was no horn relay. The horn didn't work, so I bought a new horn relay, which of course is the same as the all the other relays in that row, which one of them is the compressor clutch. Well, I just switched it with the horn relay and the damn air is working now. So I'm gonna run it, see what happens, but if it stops working again, there's something burning out the relays, and that would not be good. So I know that it's rare for relays to just go bad. They either work or they don't, but some are intermittent. They can be that way. I mean, my cooling fans were that way. It's kind of weird for all that crap to go bad and all those relays to go bad. The only thing I can maybe think of is that this car sat for so long. I mean, it sat for almost 3 years, so maybe just from sitting so long, there's the cooling fans kicking on. Maybe the relays just kind of got bad, and maybe it did have some electrical problems. And I don't know. So all I can do is run, but now the air is blowing cold. I got the connectors done. The rattle's fixed, so why don't we go for a little ride? All right, my name's Luke, and we're going for a drive. Hopefully with some air conditioning. All right, so it looks like everything went together pretty good. The connectors are in there. They went in and clicked nicer than they've ever clicked before, obviously, because they're brand new. I went ahead and redid the wiring for the AC compressor as well. I tried it when I was misunderstood when I first was having problems with the AC. I thought it was the ground for the compressor, so I went and made a separate ground for the compressor. Well, I just rewired that and soldered that all back into the factory harness, so everything wire-wise right now is tied up and good. The air is working, so everything is good right now. I just want to see how long the air lasts now. If it stays working, then maybe the relay was just bad, like I explained earlier. If not, and I get another relay and it works again, then we know that I've got bigger electrical problems. And at that point, I might just, I don't know, work on just getting a whole new harness. I really don't want to do that, but if it comes down to it, it comes down to it. So we'll go out here and do a little highway pull. Wait for it. Well, it didn't break. Well, if it's not one thing, it's another, right? Now I have a massive boost leak somewhere. I can just hear it, and it's not building pressure. So I don't know if I knocked a hose loose or something, but I think that'll be a project for tomorrow. So no wonder that pull didn't feel anywhere nearer than it should have. There's no check engine lights on though, so that's a good thing. Anyway, I'll post an update on the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe for more videos coming up. Alright guys, peace. Catch you on the next one. So usually if a boost leak is so bad that you can hear it from inside the cabin, you can usually probably see it. The hose is popped off or something. At first I couldn't really see anything, and then I looked right here. There is a complete something missing out of the freaking throttle body. Now, this is an aftermarket Modern Performance one, so I don't know if that was an adjustment or I think it looked like a screw, but whatever was right there is gone. And that's basically just air leaking out, which is causing a huge boost leak. So that's what it was. Yay.